here seems to understand that.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Sorry about that, Chris.
Yeah, that's right.
There's fires and trees and.
Yeah, it was back.
Yeah, I watched the.
How you doing?
Good, how are you guys?
Good, good to see you.
Watched trees coming down outside of our building.
Sarah, how we doing? Good?
We're doing great, how are you?
How's
How's that little girl doing? Little see this fan, the world's awesome. See you again.
Good to see you. Everything good?
I'll make it, at least it's awesome. Down there when I was over there. Yeah. I just ran into Scott. You're out of the room.
Thank you, sir.
No, I did, yeah.
I'll tell you.
Look at this. I know. That took a lot.
Got home, there was no power. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, my cousin's pizza shop roof blew.
What's that?
Pepperoni, Singing Spring.
Oh.
The whole
Yeah.
roof, the whole rubber roof, like literally, it was like a shield, a sheet, like
Right.
if you're a bed sheet, like, goes right off.
Right, well, yeah, our office is in Spring Township along State Hill Road. And
The trees?
trees were coming down outside of our office.
I saw them on the way home, all three of them,
Yeah, on State Hill, yeah, on State Hill.
the white trees.
Yes, the white trees. I saw the one come down and then saw the other two had come down. One fell on the car, not one of ours. It was in the other parking lot.
On the car?
Yeah, in the parking lot at the accountant's office. Yeah, no, it was very bad. Now, when we left, the power was out. I don't know when it came back on.
Yeah, we lost a little bit of power and I'm in Spring Township.
Yeah.
that,
Yeah,
had some homeowners actually that called. Kurt's, company was on awful, he called me, he's like, can you give me the Hartford's number? They, I was just waiting for the hail after what happened in 2014.
Don't leave that, don't leave, we don't talk about
We
it.
don't talk about that bad word.
Sorry.
That's traumatized my son to this day. Yeah, he was at Goddard School, so I was working for Great Valley in Wyoming. And Spring Ridge, there you go. And man, at one point they reached softball size, you know?
Well, I didn't actually see the hail coming down. I was in a windowless conference room in a meeting, just preparing plan for hearing. And we had been told the day before that there might be some men working on the roof.
So you didn't even think
So I
anything
didn't
of it?
think anything of it. When I went into the meeting, the weather was fine, full meeting, went in, the weather was fine. Didn't give it any thought, and then, so I hear people in the group, it's like, oh, they went into the guesswork into there. Kept going with the meeting.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of talking in the hallway. You're all talking in the hallway, I'm thinking, why is there a party out in the hallway? Is there an administrator? What's going on here? Yeah, keep going, even though the meeting looks really bad. And then come out of the meeting and find out what happened. And quick ran out, checked his truck, it was fine. Our office was spared pretty.
Ours was not big. We didn't have. When we drove home, first of all, you couldn't get out, Spring Ridge. And there was a guy that pulled up next to us on the way, and he had a convertible. But one time it was the top was long, and then because the ice was now starting to melt, just like that, steam came back, and it was just like steam. Like, look at this guy.
I remember, I was working at Cowboys, I didn't have a meeting that night. And West Reading was
I remember that snowplows.
get that snowplows out, and we had already had this really big storm in the winter where it started snowing Thanksgiving, and it didn't clear up until it was Easter. Really bad winter. And then you see the snowplows out again in May.
What's the Italian police service?
You see some new faces out there, or intermittent faces, if you will. We are streaming live on YouTube. That stuff is saved, and you can go back and look anytime you like. So smile.
Where's the camera? Over there?
Try to act natural.
No, Dan.
Yeah.
It used to be, we used to buy a company called Future Glasses. And why would you go to rec already? Why would you give this guy the world? He even said, because I get it, thank you for the business. I said, this part, no, my family doesn't do it. All right, we'll do
I've been
myself.
taking vacation yesterday.
So
Send out Memorial Day.
Washington DC, Maryland, Delaware,
So they kind of catch up mode until then, so you know,
now a guy from Baltimore looks
Oh, I
cool.
love that. That's adorable.
Everybody gotta eat, right? Everybody gotta eat.
Yeah, you guys both houses?
They decided.
Got 9,000. Yeah, my sister
Jefferson
has.
Street in Berkeley,
My son goes to catering.
so that doesn't, I mean, we did three phases. And then, it's on the council.
Mostly, if you want something from the market.
It was already on temp and everybody had it.
No, just like 10 minutes away, you love that. Yeah, but it's like, day when you come back up, we'll hang out. It's beautiful. I'll give them some nice ingredients. Big dog,
Yeah.
So we have a new flour, that's why
No, I think-
it's pushing it,
We'll call the. Order 7 o'clock. We'll do a pledge allegiance and moment of silence for all military personnel.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Rose. Present.
Here.
All right. Now we go to citizens' concerns. Anybody in the audience have a citizens' concern this evening? All right, if not, Rich, correspondence.
Okay, there were a few additional pieces of correspondence between last meeting and this, and it should be in your packet this evening. One was a letter from local government, PSATs, News Law Service, for resolutions, nominations, and executive board nominations.
Okay. Thank you, okay. Chief Rimday.
Evening, Board. The first thing I have is just an update on the building maintenance and driving quotes. So I did reach out to 3 contractors. From the engineer, recommended them from here, from Manning Materials. I'm just waiting, they're gonna probably be out this week to give us estimates. I'm not sure how long it's gonna take them down, but I did contact 3 people because I would imagine it's probably gonna be person. Would you like me to contact the 4th, just so we have the 4th, or do you think the 3 would be good?
You can usually get a fourth, but.
I'll reach out to Manning Materials to see if they have somebody else in mind. That's it for that. And then the next thing on my list is to discuss the Teamsters MOU. I believe Colin said he wanted to discuss it in the executive session.
Yes.
I believe you guys all received some emails, so if you want to speak to me about it, then you can.
Yeah, it's a personnel and labor negotiations matter, so we'll discuss it in executive session. I do have everything, and I've reviewed what was sent to me and what Colin gave me.
Okay,
That's all I have.
all right, thank you.
All right, in your package from Thursday, I should have had your monthly expenses, treasure report, sewer agent report. Questions for motion to approve those as published?
All right, anyone like to make a motion to approve monthly expenses, treasurer's report, and sewer agent report? This is our position.
I will make that motion.
All right, I'll second. Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Rose,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler,
I would know.
I'll vote yes.
Okay, moving on to the manager's comments. The first piece I have there is a decision on the auditor. Reviewing our notes from last month's meeting, I looked at the fact that we had decided on retaining our current contractors, our current vendors in place. However, I need to remind the board that we did not have an auditor. Our previous auditor did give us a letter essentially saying she was not going to return. We only had one bid on that, on pen bid, which I believe all of you seen previously. However, I wanted to confirm with the board if we wanted to move ahead with the auditor that did in fact make the bid there on pen bid, or if they wanted to look at another option. Remind the board that we also need to, obviously we have ECD requirements, we need to get this in and done quickly, and we should have a CPA to do certain portions of it.
Yeah, we do need a CPA for those.
And on Thursday, I had said about, we should probably do this, and then we needed the name, since we, you know, it wasn't readily available, and here's the firm. Well, it was the only one we had. So I don't know if anyone likes to, you know, we need to do this, so that's the name. If you say Zelenkowski Axelrod, I guess LLC, certified public accountants.
Has the intent been advertised?
It was advertised on
It's been
pen bid, yes, ma'am.
advertised, yeah,
Okay.
and that's the only one that responded.
Okay, but I mean the advertisement to, in a newspaper of general circulation to a point.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, good.
But we're not likely to get him.
Yeah, that's been, well, we've had
Well,
that
no,
for,
it's in your pen bid account, but yeah.
we've had
It's
that
been
for,
there. It's not new.
3 months, probably beginning of the year, I guess.
Yes.
We should probably get it done.
If that's a good idea.
It says 3-year agreement, I'd really rather go with 1 year. Is that what this is doing?
It does not, sir. If you look at the bottom, they actually made note of the fact that this would not constitute a 3-year agreement, that this was their fee schedule, so we.
It should not be interpreted. So they're just giving us our fees in advance.
Correct, sir.
It seems like a lot of money.
It does, but we
Yeah,
have.
if you go with Turbine, we're gonna be paying more. Exactly.
But put their name in for consideration. All right, well, then I'll make a motion to appoint Zelenkowski Axelrod LLC for our auditors, you know, certified public accountant.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Bitler,
I vote yes.
no, yes.
Thank you, board. All right, the next thing on that list is ATS. I met with Rich Fix this morning, had a great conversation. Actually got quite a lot of history of the park, which was really cool, go with it. Myself and Officer Schwapman met with him out there to go over some of the security concerns that we had. He's going to look at a couple of different proposals. One of the things I did ask of him, and he and I were absolutely in sync on this, was to essentially have some building blocks for this. You know, what we start with now and how we can build this into future budgets so that we have a good program and also something to do some life cycle management there as well in the future. The current camera system is fairly old. He also got all the inside shots of everything he needed. He thinks he only needs one piece for the inside to add the first stage of this, which would be an alarm system on there that would go directly to our police department, and we'll build from there. So again, he'll put that together. I expect to have that probably by our May meeting. If not, then I'll let the board know and we can adjust. The next piece that can be discussed essentially in executive at the same time we discuss the police administrative assistant, the MOU there with the Teamsters. And then the final one is just a note here to remember the ethics statements for this year are due May 1st to the office. If they have not sent one in already, please do so.
Anything else, Rich?
At this point, no other questions.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any updates for their reports here in the supervisor reports?
I have no additional updates.
I have been in contact with Hometown News. I'm going to try to get, I have a list of probably 20 of them, but according to the last time we had to do something, we have like 125 in the township, so I'm trying to get a list of those together to send in. So heads up to everybody sitting here, if you have anything that you want to go in, it's probably gonna be June, end of June, so it's gonna be like summer, and the next one will go out like in the fall. So anything you have, you might wanna think about getting together to, you know, the residents to make sure about summer heat, or, cooling and stuff so that nobody's like roasting or, just a bunch of different things. So if you have anything, please get it to me so I can forward that to them.
Supervisor Bitler, anything from you?
No.
All right, I guess Brody, you're up for fire companies.
Not much to report. We've been busy. Had a pretty bad fire the other night everybody worked well together. Unfortunately, it was not the outcome we wanted. It happens. Other than that, you have our reports, I'm assuming.
I guess you're busy today.
Yeah, very busy this afternoon.
All right. In the packet, we have minutes and reports. Would anyone like to make a motion to accept the minutes and reports in our possession?
I will make that motion to accept the minutes and reports. No possession.
I'll second. Roll call, Mrs. Joy.
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Bitler.
I'll vote no.
I'll vote yes. All right, Ryan. Good evening. As we discussed at the workshop meeting, we did open bids for both the paving contract and the maintenance contract. This is what I passed out to the board just before the meeting. I did send it to you earlier today via email as well. We went through, let's start with the paving contract. 4 bids in total received, all of which were from well-qualified contractors. The low bidder was Alan Myers with a bid of $274,408.65, just about 40-some dollars below H&K's bid. So the bids were tight. I think that's good. And we are making a recommendation that the board consider authorizing the 2025 roadwork contract to Alan Myers at the contract price of $274,408.65.
Let's make a motion on that tonight so that we can move forward.
Yes, we'd like to keep it moving.
Before anything else goes up higher. That would be my most polite thing to say.
There is an escalator clause in that contract if fuel does something funny, but yes. I'll make a motion to award the 2025 roadwork project to Alan Myers in the amount of $274,408.65.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, Mrs. Joy.
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Bitler.
I'll vote yes.
I'll vote yes. Okay, thank you. At the same time, during the same bid opening, we also opened the bids for the 2025 maintenance contract. This is our oil and chip contract. 3 bids received, which is 1 more than typical. Again, they were all pretty tight, from about $200,000 to $194,000. We are advising that the board consider authorizing this contract to Martin's Paving at a price of $194,335.52. That again is below our estimate, so we'd like a motion on that.
That's always a good thing below.
And I'll make a motion to award the maintenance project to Martin's Paving, the amount of $194,335.52.
I'll second.
Roll call, Mr. Tiller.
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Bitler.
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Okay, thank you. 2 quick updates before we get to the next items. First one is the Zion Road culvert will go out to bid as the board previously authorized. And the guide rail work, which you had awarded, we are working on coordinating that. When we have a schedule, we'll let you know. So at this point, I think there's a couple items for discussion here. The first one is with respect to the Grande property on Cedar Hill Road. I think we have some folks in the audience here to discuss this, so I will turn it over to you to introduce yourselves.
Good evening, I'm Brian Folk with C2C Design Group, the engineering consultant for the Cedar Hill development, the residential part of it. We're here tonight, obviously, to talk about this property and some opportunity that came up for potential different use. Before I turn it over to Brian to talk about all the details involved with that, I just want to let the board know, bring you up to speed, that we have been moving forward with the residential development. We have updated our NPDES permit, that renewed, which is now good till 2029, December 2029. The joint permit, the biggest holdup had been wetland mitigation. We have since contacted the Wetland Mitigation Bank and have worked out the details there, are very close to having that resolved. So when we make the application back to DEP for the joint permit, we have that part resolved. So we are moving forward with the residential component, at least parts that could be beneficial to either scenario. And we do have a extension to May, I think it's May 23rd, I think is the date, And I just wanted to make sure that as we explore this other opportunity, this other avenue, that the residential development that has a preliminary plan approval stays intact as we proceed and move forward with this other opportunity. So we most likely will need another extension. I know we've been doing extensions for a long time now. We are nearing the end here, I think, in either scenario, but I think with the light of the new opportunity, we just wanted to bring that up and make sure that the board is comfortable with granting that extension further as we explore the other options. So we'll discuss that later, or you want to discuss it now? We have till next month. It doesn't have to be acted on this month. I didn't actually bring an extension, and just wanted to get the board's feel and see if everybody's okay with it.
Wait till next month and see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
My turn?
All right, go ahead.
Okay, thanks, no, I have no notes, thank you very much, I don't think I need any more.
Thank you.
This is the first time we've run enough copies, okay. You want one as well? Sure. All right, thank you. Well, first, thanks for giving us an opportunity to come in. This is obviously, as Brian was mentioning before, they dropped what they're doing. We wanted to see if everybody was open to what we're looking at doing. So the information that's in front of you, and I'm here to go over the very basic stuff. But as part of our team, I have Jake Turkanian here and John LaPraise. I just asked you. To help with some of the technical questions, but I can at least go over a little bit of the high level, tell you a little bit about the property, which obviously you're aware of with the residential piece, but what you see in the package is just kind of going over some of the infrastructure items and very high level concept plans. Because as of right now, we just started the process, so the actual use or the actual square footages and everything else may change as time goes on. So this is very high level concept plan. So the property in question is the 361 acre 5 parcel site right off of course Cedar Hill Road and 724 in West First Street. What we're proposing, or at least what's in the package right now, again, we haven't submitted any formal applications or anything else, would be a data center or multiple data centers on the site. So obviously a 360 acre site allows for quite a bit of square footage, but that quite a bit of square footage is subject to how much power we can actually get. So again, happy to answer any questions. This is really just a high level presentation of what we would be proposing on the site. And again, Jake is here to answer any technical questions or any specifics that you may have. So, any questions?
Yeah, well, how's it gonna impact the people who are living in your development?
I'm sorry, say that again?
How is it going to impact the people who are buying in your development? I know 361 acres is a fair amount of space, but.
Yeah, that's a fair question. So this use would actually take over the entire residential use. So that residential use would be terminated, and then we would look at the use that's in front of you right now. So it wouldn't be a mixed use of a data center with residential. This would be all data center or nothing, I would think. I don't think we're gonna have a mixed use component for this.
So who's gonna discuss the concept of a data center?
I'm happy to.
Is that you?
That's Jake, yeah. Actually, before you get into it, let me just mention, so we met with the planning commission a month and a half, 2 months ago, and they had some very good questions and comments as well. So some of which we can address now, some of which will not be addressed until further along in the process, once we understand exactly what the footprints are going to be, the ceiling heights, things like that. So one of the comments was power, right? So for us, we can't do a power study until we know power studies are very expensive and time consuming, and the lead time is plus minus 6 months, if not longer. So for us to start that process, we want to even know the township municipalities are open to the use before we start spending that kind of money for the power study.
The other question or comment was related to access, which again, that's subject to change depending on if we're able to acquire additional properties. If we're not, and we're only looking at what we have today, the primary access point would be off of Cedar Hill Road, which we have, there's a cut there now, or off of West First, which is an ideal given it's a single lane bridge going under, or a single lane going underneath the bridge, but that would be our second point of access. So those were two of the high level the planning commission had. There were other items related to infrastructure and things like that, but we're not at that point to be able to address a lot of those questions. So, as it relates to technical items or what a data center is, Jake, why don't you jump in?
Yeah, sure. You know, clearly there's demand for this profile in the marketplace right now. And we're before a number of different townships, and we've been successful in a number of different townships getting full alignment, right? Because this is not an invasive use, it's a complementary use, and there can be really significant residual benefits to the jurisdiction through tax ratables and really high-paying jobs. And a major investment in this type of community. You know, the scale of this site is certainly conducive for what the market wants. I mean, it's a large site, and it has access to infrastructure, and we have a board before us that we believe will be welcoming of growth and prosperity in the township. And that's what these projects tend to bring. They are very complex. They are heavy on infrastructure, and to Brian's point, we are fully prepared to make the submissions to First Energy. This is a First Energy territory. We've been through their process before. We understand how it works, so we're not going into it blindly. But we do want the collective support and, you know, quote unquote warm and fuzzy from the town before we do that, because it does take time, it does cost a lot of money. But it's the right thing to do, is, you know, kind of follow the procedure here. Make sure we have alignment on use, and then submit for the study and further qualify the utilities and make sure everything's gonna work. As far as the buildings go, these things can take a couple different forms. Generally speaking, the program is to tap high voltage, bring the high voltage down to a substation, step that voltage down again, bring the power underground, feed it to a series of buildings that'll be outfitted with cooling systems, and fairly high intensive data processing function. The function inside the data centers can be varied from cloud service. Not everyone has phones and pictures and stuff they store in the cloud, so it could be cloud service. It could be a mix of AI, probably a mix of the two, cloud and AI. But there's not that many sites that can accommodate this scale of the project, and this is a unique one. It does fit the mold.
Now, is this 6 buildings?
Yeah, you know what, I'm gonna show you, so I have a large plan here. This one I did not print out.
So what we've tried to do with the concept is, really block plan out the major elements. Again, major elements being substation and infrastructure, and then a series of buildings. The buildings can vary in size and form, but generally speaking, I think a fair assumption is, you know, anywhere from 150 to 300,000 square foot footprints, and they can vary in height. Ideally, we'd seek height relief. You know, having multi-story data centers provides for more density, and it lends itself more for you know, the widest net of users out there. But these buildings could be multi-story, they could be single-story. It depends on the user.
Yeah. So the plan that you see in front of you, that isn't the building footprint, that's the impervious area. So that section that you see could encompass 2 to 3 buildings, given the size that Jake just mentioned.
What, here?
So that's the substation. So the blue outline are the proposed substations, which are right next to the high voltage lines. The tannish, if you will, those are the areas that the impervious pieces. Again, it could encompass 2 or 3 buildings. Correct.
Yeah, we try to block plan out where we believe the developable footprints are, basically.
Yeah, we try to stay away from an actual square footage of the building, because again, it's subject to change depending on who the end user is. but we wanted to at least give you an idea of what the impervious could be.
And there is a fair amount of thought. I mean, the Grande's done a ton of work on the resi side. They've done site surveying, wetland surveying, topo, boundary, you know, so we've taken all that into account, and come up with a plan, a concept that respects all the work they've done on the land development side so far, so we're not completely reinventing the wheel and starting from scratch.
So obviously with a data center like this, you're gonna need fiber optics, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, with as remote as our township is right now, there's not many places that have fiber optics. So I mean, do you have any idea of where that's gonna come from, or any
Yes.
discussions around that?
Yeah, we have vetted the fiber, fiber can be strong. You know, it's kind of a stem connection. There's fiber that runs all through the area.
Yeah.
Some lines are better than others.
Right.
But we're in close proximity and we feel that passes sniff test.
And we did include in one of the slides an outline of where all the existing fiber exists, which is shown on the property.
Okay. Can we have that?
Yeah, yes, you did. It would have been easier if I numbered the slides, but it's third from the back.
Close enough.
It's the next one is an hour long.
Clever slide.
Sorry, what a clever title for that. And how many people would work here?
A facility like this, it's gonna ramp. It'll probably take 2 to 3 years to energize the first building, and the first tranche of people will probably be somewhere between 50 and 100 people to start. And it could be upwards of 300 to 500 depending on house programs, but upwards of 500 people at full capacity.
Multiple shifts.
Yeah, and multiple shifts. You know, it'll be a 24/7 operation. I mean, that's the beauty of these developments versus logistics center, right? I mean, you know, you're not gonna have thousands of trucks. You may have 2 trucks a day.
Now, are all the intersections being changed that way on the Birdsboro then still?
As it relates to the HOP.
Development, because the plan initially was to change stuff up here in Alder, change stuff at the intersection of Cedar Hill and Central Court, change things down there, Birdsboro, is that still happening?
I'm not privy to the HOP off-site road work.
I'm sure they'll have to update the traffic study,
Yeah.
resubmit the PennDOT and get it all updated according to whatever their traffic counts are. I mean, they're gonna have less traffic than the development would be, so I don't know what the warrants would be.
Yeah, but regardless, we're gonna have to do a traffic study, because obviously the impact is gonna be different, the use is different, and everything else, so.
The impact is less, which is good.
Yeah.
All right, it's less of an impact.
More money in taxes.
More money in taxes, no burden on the schools.
So less burden on the schools, less burden on you.
Yes,
Right.
happy day for that.
Right.
You did mention high-paid jobs, which I like.
Barry's
Yeah.
not here, so less road maintenance,
Wait a minute, I was gonna say,
less
Yeah, and then,
road, less
you know,
plowing, less
Yeah.
police presence, more
And then-
tax revenue.
Contractors would be happy too in the community. Everyone's gonna be busy.
that's also a good thing to use.
So the school district should be happy.
The locals will be very happy.
Exactly.
It'll be years worth of construction work for the whole community.
What other townships have you dealt with these data centers?
Which other township? The list is long. We're pretty busy.
What's the closest?
To here?
Ohio?
Limerick, well, Limerick's probably closest. We've been through Limerick Township. We've been through Hazelton. And we've been through Archbold and Oliphant up in Northeast. And we're doing a fair amount in South Jersey. I mean, I've been before, on this subject, I think I've been before 20 townships, and we've been successful in the majority of them.
But other than Limerick, we're about the only one right in this area.
In this node, for me personally, this is a unique one. There's not too many 360 acre properties sitting around that could be developed, so. it's a
No
unique
offense,
one.
if you make it that way.
Southeastern Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and Southeast PA is, once you get closer and closer to Philadelphia, the barriers to entry get very high.
Are you able to tell us some of the clients that utilize the data centers? Or is it big companies? Is it
Yeah, I mean,
a gamut of big, small, medium?
Yeah, I mean, you think of like the Fab Five, those are your biggest names, your Amazons, your Metas, your Oracles of the world, and then there's a whole host of other I would call them developer operators, that develop these data centers and then lease the space, and they may lease it to those Fab Five, or they may lease it to other customers. So, there's probably, I would say 30 or 40 of those developers that are out there. So you have like your Fab Five, which are household names, and you have 30 or 40 other developers that develop for them that are institutionally capitalized. So these are funded with life insurance companies, sovereign wealth funds, big money funds that are investing heavily into this space. So it's, and there's also a series of family offices that are heavily invested in it too. But it's institutional capital and institutional caliber development.
Okay, this has actually nothing to do with Robinson, but because of where you're looking, how did Birdsboro react?
We didn't get there yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, the only reason I'm asking is knowing where everything is in Birdsboro and how close you are to it. I was just curious how the reaction was from there. Not that it's gonna impact us dramatically, but because you have a lot of homes at that end. That's the only reason I asked.
Yeah, we have not engaged with those yet.
Any other presentations? Or you just guys here for the ride?
Additional support? Yeah, me neither.
Supervisor Bentley, do you have any questions? No questions.
You're lucky, because two of us are geeks on there, so. You really could be in trouble here, and how far it goes, but we understand what you're asking for and why.
You can go into the planning commission again, or just later? Like next month, are you gonna see the planning commission, are you on their agenda for May, or you just?
No, not yet.
No, we're not.
We wanted to take everyone's temperature here, and then we need to start the formal process of getting everything put together and
If
take that next
this
step.
is something that the board is willing to explore, we would begin working with these folks to see how this fits in our zoning and what would need to be done to.
You checked the zoning before you came here, did you not?
Yeah, they do.
What's our temperature?
I don't mean this rude, but number one, you're gonna bring jobs to the community.
I'd explore it.
Yeah, I think we need to engage Ryan to
It would be a
explore
change to
that.
your zoning,
Yeah.
or it would be a conditional use as we did with the Hurstville property. Saying that those are the two real options on the table. I think
Right, if
that
it's a use not provided by.
provided in the R3, which it's not.
Oh, absolutely. We need to invest in the community and.
Supervisor Bitler, are you okay for them to proceed to get more information and do stuff?
Yeah, without committee.
Oh, yeah, well, we haven't done.
Exploring.
Yeah, we're exploring.
Yeah, they just wanted our temperatures, so I guess our temperature's a good temperature.
And if there's additional questions as things move forward or after we leave, you'll feel free to pass them along, or however it makes its way to us. We're happy to answer what we can, so.
You know we're gonna ask.
I know, no, that's okay, that's
I'm
good.
sorry.
Hey, I know,
You
I
know
think
we're
it's,
gonna
I think
ask.
it's good, it's,
That's
you know,
our responsibility.
that's part of the process, and we can appreciate that for sure, so.
Yeah, we want to be a good partner.
Yeah,
And this is, we want to do the right thing. We want to make sure interests are aligned. So, we're an open book.
And we wanna make sure we do right by the community that we serve. So, if what you're gonna do is positive for the community and we don't look at it, then we haven't done right by them.
Awesome.
So I guess,
All right, well, thank you, we'll circle up, get together, and we'll figure out next steps. All right, thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
thank you.
At least it's not an Amazon warehouse. Okay?
It is not.
I'm looking at the positives here.
That's one thing we can say for certain.
I'm looking this route, I go up 61 and I see all the warehouses, but I really don't see what they're bringing to the communities. So to have something that's gonna bring positive to the communities is a bonus.
The answer to that question is traffic.
Harold, we already know, but you're not looking at the amount of traffic for 50 people to
No,
still
no,
go.
that's what I'm saying, that's what the warehouse is, right?
I look at them and every time I go up 61 again, there's another warehouse being built, and I've even seen that up north further, but I don't see it really giving them any revenue or helping the community. And to me, then that's a failure.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks a
No
lot.
problem.
Have a good greetings to everybody.
You too,
Thanks
thank
a
you.
lot. Appreciate it.
They paid you back.
There is one other item on the agenda under me, that's the Dyer Quarry rezoning. I don't know if anybody's here to speak to that or not.
Not tonight, no.
Okay.
Oh, and you know the irony of that? And they're gonna move on.
Anything else, Ron?
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, so let's move on to.
Okay, good evening. On Dyer Quarry, the only thing I have is what I sent, along to you on March 21st, which is, copies of a, proposal for rezoning sent by Dyer Quarry's, attorney, to rezone approximately 28 acres to Q1, but I haven't heard anything since then. It appears nobody's here tonight to address that.
That would actually be probably the rights one that they want. That's exactly what it has to be. There's only so much space around us, so.
Right, and that was the way it was presented to me, is that they needed the space, but it was not going to be for actual quarrying use. But again, I mean, all we have is a draft of it at this point. All right. The PAMS contract, I had shared with you, my revisions to the stormwater fees collection agreement and the sewage user fees collection agreement. And I saw that in the packets, that red line draft was included. Does anyone have any questions regarding the two draft agreements?
I have a comment, not a question about what you did, but I want to make sure that the community realizes they can't come down to the building anymore, they can't come to the municipal building, they can't come pay their bills there, you know, and it is going to be a challenge for a certain amount of older people. So I just wanna make sure that we reiterate this until this goes into effect, that they're aware of it, that it doesn't just slap them in the face and they feel like we've deserted them.
Right, it will be announced that there won't be a collection box at this building, or at the township building, and that PAM's procedures will be utilized for payment and collections.
Well, it's better to start telling them now, because till people get that, it's gonna create some stress in a lot of older people to deal with it. They're just not familiar with it.
We've already made the soft message to those residents that have come in and started paying bills. And just, again, it's a very soft message at this point, letting you know, we're looking at a contract, here's how that's going to look.
Right.
Just so they have an idea, the letters and developments, they did send us one. I'm reworking that. I'd like to get that over to our solicitor for a review before we send that. That would then come back before both the RTMA and the board for final approval before we hit the send button on it. And in that way, they have a formal letter from us, and then they will also receive one, my understanding from talking to Rich out at PAM's, is they will receive one from them as well with the first billing cycle, explaining the process and how to work with that, so.
There's no absolute requirement that we eliminate the box immediately. There's ways that can still function.
They said no. They said our only option was we went through PAM's, period, because you had an issue originally of people paying here. You wanted PAM's in, you've now got PAM's, which means you now need to make sure the community can adapt and adjust. And we were told we cannot use that anymore. Our box must come down, everything must go through PAM's. So skirting the issue or trying to manipulate it isn't gonna fix our problem.
No one's skirting anything. I'm saying this, there are provisions that can be made.
All right, so the authority will also comment. I sent them the red lines as well, so the authority board will also comment on these agreements as is reflected in the agenda. We have addressed the Dyer Quarry zoning change request. Next item is the Green Hills Pump and Haul amendment. You received you heard the request to amend the pump and haul agreement between the township, the authority, and the builders of the Green Hills Estates development to allow up to 40 homes to be connected to under a pump and haul arrangement and not the current 20, in addition to the current 22, so it will be 40 rather than 22 homes. I received an analysis of this. I spoke with Greg Edelman, who represents NVR, who is the builder. I also received an analysis on behalf of the authority, and you may have received a copy as well. of Keith Showalter's analysis of the pump and haul arrangement. Keith expressed certain concerns as far as making sure that it's not for an indefinite period of time. And that's also my concern, is that you can't have, it's fine as long as it isn't for an indefinite period of time, and that there is a definite time deadline and cap on the number of homes.
They did, when they were here on Thursday night, reiterate what you're saying, because I just kept looking at them like, yeah, okay, you wanna go to that, but
Yeah, they weren't looking for a time extension, they
No.
said. They were
No, they
just
were
looking
not.
for housing,
No,
the number of.
when I spoke to Attorney Edelman, he said that the timetable, that the materials are being manufactured, the control building is under construction.
Yeah.
The plant would go online in September, October of this year, and pump and haul would be discontinued by, December 31st. And the reason that they want the townships and the authorities agreement is that DEP won't even consider it unless the township and the authority is on board. There are already either 20 or 22 signed agreements of sale.
22.
And 22 is the limit for the pump and haul agreement. 15 homes are now under construction, and the builder believes that 22 will be under roof by September of this year. And because they're at the 22 number, there's a clause on agreements.
Right, so the board understands what we asked Technicon to do in this particular situation was, we initially set off with a number, we wanna know when the first 18 permits were pulled, and then the next mechanism for us was the 22 U&O, so use and occupancy permits when they come in. So we believe we probably won't even broach the additional 18 homes on this if they line up with September, but it just allows them some comfort to continue making those agreements, so that if something does happen and it shifts by a month or so either way, they can continue issuing U&O permits, essentially is what it comes down to. So Technicon has it set up for the U&O permits. They're supposed to announce when they hit the 18th, and then that way we're able to look at it and say, hey, here's the window for
There's
this.
some cushion space there.
Yes, so that was done internally for us so that we had a mechanism to track it, because we had the original 22 homes.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we were gonna see what the municipal authority said, and then it'll be on the agenda for.
It will be on the agenda for the authority meeting, and Keith has given fairly extensive comments, and I also had given my comments to the authority on it. So, and those are the concerns that need to be addressed, that are within Keith's comments. I think they're well stated. Anything further? Anything further from the board? All right, the next item is the 1150 Buck Hollow Road Agreement. And that is the agreement to allow the pole barn to stay in place for purposes of storage during the construction, with removal by December 31st, 2025. They had attempted to get approval for the pole barn in its current location, and variances were denied for the setback. All of you have a copy of the agreement. Does anyone have any questions about the agreement? No? Okay, well then I'll need a motion for the board to sign the agreement.
we already made it clear they could only use it for the materials for the building of the home, and after that, it's gotta get taken down.
Yes, and that is in the correct agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve so we can sign the 1150 Buck Hollow Road Agreement.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Mrs. Joy?
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
And my final item is the conditional use decision in 3 Explo LLC. At last month's meeting, we had the conditional use hearing on the storage magazine facility for explosives. Subject to conditions, the approval was granted. Chris, you had asked for a revision to it on page 16, number 5. I made that, the change I made is backup generator if allowed under federal and state regulations, otherwise a source allowable under applicable regulations. the applicant had expressed a concern that a backup generator was not going to be permitted because of the possibility of a spark if it used fossil fuels. So that's why I drafted it that way.
Well, yeah, because if their security goes down and there's no alternate power source, we've now created a risk we don't need.
And today makes us realize just how fragile, power can be. Does anyone have any questions about the draft that was forwarded to the board?
That decision has to be issued when?
Decision has to be issued within 45 days of the last hearing. And we're approximately 30 days out, plus or minus a couple of days.
We basically have to get our act
So
together and do
we
it.
have to get, yeah.
That's the only thing, the only thing I was, that line. That was the only thing.
Yeah, that was it. Just to make sure they have
So
backup
we need a
power.
motion to approve the M3.
Motion to approve the findings, fact, conclusions, law, and decision on granting conditional use.
I would like to make a motion for the M3 Expo LLC conditional use to approve that decision.
I'll second the motion.
No, I made the motion. I made the motion.
You made the motion,
No, he said whatever you would like
I thought you said I made the
Then I
motion.
was talking to myself on making the motion. Alright, so I made the motion, you seconded it, alright. Roll call, Mrs. Joy.
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Bitler.
Yes.
I vote yes.
That's all I have unless anybody has any questions. Thank you.
As Barry's busy.
He is, and we've already spoken to that briefly. Again, I was, under Ryan just mentioned, that we're working through the details on that road.
Yeah, but Barry and I called the guy, real contractor, on Friday. He returned the phone call Monday. I was unable to take it at that time, so we'll get to it early this week. It's just.
Package should be the March sixth, 2025 minutes for the DAC. And then there's nothing under new or old business from my end. The only thing would be the employment plan, which we should discuss in executive.
Yeah, I guess we'll go to executive session at 7:45. Legal and personnel.
I second.
Unless you need
Oh,
me
I
to
always
stay,
go
I'm gonna
late
go
one
check my
morning.
father.
I don't know. What?
Listen to this, right next to us, but I'm the guy that has to run. And make sure the light- To us, my wife.
You want,
Yeah, and,
you want him to come with us for the MOU?
and.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Running
okay,
it.
yeah.
I typically like to be there.
Well, you know what? I can understand that. It's really like that.
You going in? Yeah, so we issued this, they already paid. Phone number is right here. If you wanna call them and see if they want to come in and pick up, it would be nice if they signed it. So I think we sent these to you guys. But there's a copy here for each of us.
Was the service electric dropped at all?
Yes,
And then
here's,
was contracted formally up with a.
yes, yes, and so they paid it, and then there was actually a $9 too. Yeah, so if you want to call this guy and let him know that they already did the work.
Okay.
They should come pick up the permit and sign for it.
Okay.
And this is the file copy, that's your copy, and then they would take this copy.
Same as Solomon's, 2 signatures, and then take the back.
Yep, yep, yep.
I have a kind of call, I'm not on tomorrow, but I can.
That's okay. This, like I said, this is done, they paid for it. It's just nice for us to have one signature on it.
that you know them when everything goes online and it's all signed.
Yeah. Anything else?
And no, there's just this mail to me.
Yeah, I saw that.
Actually, you know what? I think that was this, the original one.
Oh, okay.
That's what's in there.
Yeah, so it's, I'm guessing this one. But they needed to get, people want their invoice.
Yes.
Go ahead and do it. They paid the bill.
They want their internet more so than their pizza or
Yeah.
food or whatever. You can survive without food for 6 weeks, but not internet for 6 weeks.
How did you get it? Did you go down through Birdsboro?
No, I wasn't home yet. We went up to Reading Country Club.
Okay.
There are a couple of people just for vacation. I just came straight back from the then, and I got a message today to say the power's out.
So you didn't have any tree clearing or anything?
Nobody, the boys didn't tell me that they had a line. I just got another one and I forget.
They're big executive session.
Still letting us know. like,
Yeah, so they don't even know when they're coming back.
They don't even know, but Josh
We don't
is
really
lives
come back.
just off the corner.
But they make for the chief yet?
Yeah, he said he here
Well,
2 days.
sort of. He's acting.
Well, like I said, we used to, you know, you've been here long enough. We used to be.
That's okay, I mean,
Yes.
Then they changed it, it was supposed to be set that October snowstorm. remember?
Yeah.
And we got a generator after that.
we're
But we
losing.
never used it, so this is like the first time it's hooked to my phone in this house.
So the alarm tickets?
So yeah, I hope it's not.
Get a better job.
I hope not either. John, he just.
Well, they can pay them here.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We just had a police officer downtown,
That's the
so
way
I
it
take a
is.
bullet for
Whatever we have
about
to.
25 miles an hour.
That's the way it always is.
Well, still ain't enough. Can you run down the street and shoot at you?
Well, if you're looking
I
for
can trust that, you know, for what?
problem.
Well, they don't
They
pay
moved
what
in
they
there
should
in
be getting paid.
2014. So I just had, my mother-in-law was on oxygen. So I just had the same hookup.
They lost a good chief.
Yeah. So whenever they have to hook the generator back and forth, who wants to take a shower?
Wonderful extension lead.
Lost a good
So,
chief.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's not 2 days, hopefully it's like another couple hours and we're good.
How come
But it's been
these-
amazing.
I watched it online,
Yeah,
I watched two
where
guys
that came
getting
from,
in a
actually.
severe fight up here, looked like they were gonna have it out.
just so you know,
That's about it, that's who.
Did you see that?
just so you know.
The guy from the firehouse and the other guy that sits next to him. No wonder nobody comes to meetings.
Oh, what else?
The power line's down there too. And then Jefferson Street, where our power's out, so it's shut down, so you have to go some back roads. You can see the roads.
You get the scenic route tonight.
Yes. Tyler's at.
Yeah, I left at 7:30 this morning, I'll probably get back at 10 tonight.
I have a number of those days too. You guys have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Wasn't too hot in here today.
No. Oh, I thought I was getting out of here.
You ain't getting
What's up?
right now. Did you get a hold of Collinson for the?
So, he called me back Monday and
Okay.
I was gonna get to him today, but then I had 2 supervisors meetings today. And I was gonna call you late in the day and then the storm hit, so. I will call him tomorrow. My thinking is when I get off the phone, I'll just call him.
I was up at the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked in that and I looked out my window and the trees were sideways. I said, this is crazy.
Said one came down and smashed my mailbox. That's why I got 10 trees back to the road.
Yeah, I picked up 6 I already know that I'm gonna be having those.
I had a pile of sticks that I had all in one spot, and the wind just blew and scattered. I was like, I gotta do it again.
Yeah, I'm
Thanks, Mother Nature.
I don't know why I bothered stopping here.
Did you have something you wanted to talk
Well,
about?
how long are they gonna wait to make the guy the chief? How long are they gonna wait? They're gonna wait for him to leave too?
Well, I think it would have affected us anyway, because they.
That's what you came down here to talk about?
Just came from the hospital, I seen the cars out there, I figured, I'm always looking up to see when there's a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
They lost one of the best chiefs they ever had here. He's working down in Philadelphia now.
What, Castle?
Yeah.
He was a good chief.
Huh?
Castle was a good chief.
Yeah, he was a good chief.
Yeah.
Been friends with him for years, way before he became chief. So the stress. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the most stressful jobs you can have. Period.
He's charging like 60 people now. Working at big hospitals down there. Still confiscating guns. It's just a little line, you know. Some guy, I guess he with the fire company, Gibraltar maybe, over here, sits over here. The guy next to him, he got into a serious freaking argument. It was televised. It was on YouTube, you know.
Yeah, we're streaming now.
He's getting a big argument, the two of them. I guess one of them went into the office with the manager or something, and words flew, and I don't know. But no wonder when he comes to these meetings. See stuff like that. Unprofessional. They want to argue like that, they need to take it in the back office. Not out here in front of all these people. It's hard enough to get people to come out here in these meetings. And they got to see that kind of stuff. Almost looked like it was going to get in a fight.
Alternatively, you should have the discussions here in an open meeting where everybody can hear what goes on instead of stuff behind closed doors. Playing devil's advocate, right?
I don't know we don't even know what it was about.
Sometimes it's not comfortable to know how the sausage is made for government, right?
The guy from the fire company wasn't saying much. He wasn't being as obnoxious as the other guy that sits next to him. It was bad.
If I recall correctly, the gentleman said he called him out and, wasn't on the agenda. Nothing was, just came out of nowhere calling the guy unprofessional. I think he has a right to defend himself.
Which guy had the right to, who had to defend himself? The fire?
The person who's accused.
What's that?
The person who was accused of being unprofessional.
I don't know which one was accused.
Firefighter accused the other guy.
Oh. Firefighter accused the other guy. Okay. Well, I like Joy, you know? If everybody was like Joy, things might be a little bit different.
I haven't been out there. Were you out there?
She's got,
Yeah, I went out and looked at as far as stuff.
excuse the expression, but she's got balls. She's gonna put up with no bullshit. Guess that's why Chief Phillips isn't here.
Goats, whatever goat is coming across the road.
I have to respectfully disagree.
Huh?
I have to respectfully disagree with you.
You have to disagree?
I do.
What do you disagree about?
That if everyone was like Joy, we would have a better functioning township, is that what you said? I find her to be condescending to residents that come in here that say their opinion. If she disagrees, she personally belittles them.
That's her.
I mean,
That's how she is. Doesn't matter where she's at.
You're talking about how one supervisor's unprofessional for defending himself, but then you're going to defend conduct like that.
I haven't seen much of her conduct because I don't come to the meetings.
I've watched some of the YouTube, and it's available after she tried to shut it down with a vote that was found to violate the Constitution of the United States of America. So that's on YouTube as well.
I haven't went back that far. I could care less, to be honest with you. They don't do nothing for me. My taxes are what they are. I know they lost a lot of police officers over the last 20 years.
I think the problem is the local government can be the most tyrannical form of government, because oftentimes they do things or, you know, charge fees for certain things that it's not worth it to fight about, but it's still not appropriate or constitutional, you know?
How about they wanted to charge $35, was it a year, for that septic? They wanna, what are they doing for the $35? They don't clean my septic.
That's the, yeah. But a lot of people, instead of questioning if they have to pay the fee, they just pay it because it's $35. You know, a lawyer will charge thousands, right, to litigate it.
What's the fee for? What are they doing for the fee? They're doing nothing for the fee. They're just trying to rape you for more money. $35.
Good night, guys.
I get mine cleaned and I send a report in. But they don't get the $35 from me. And they'll never get it. Is he still in on the meeting or not?
I think I just saw him in the hallway, I'm not sure. He was participating in the executive session.
I'll tell you, this girl got lost. She's at my house. Well, actually my girlfriend went into the woods up there. I'm a quarter mile in the woods. I have 3 acres, and she decided to take a walk. When it was starting to get dark over into the 300 acres over here, and she got lost. And she fell, got hurt. It was on a sunny night, and pulled her out of there Tuesday morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. I went into the woods because I heard somebody yelling. I didn't hear, my friend heard somebody yelling in there. I went in there, I was still in my pajamas, and it took me about 45, 50 minutes to get into where she was. I found her and she was already almost unconscious. She was in there from Sunday night till Tuesday. And Jacob, the officer.
Officer Ketter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and the Birdsboro police officer came out, and all I had was a flashlight. If my flashlight would have went out, I would have been stuck where I was till daylight for another 3 hours. But Officer Ketter was crawling in through to get to where I was.
He's awesome.
He's a good cop.
He was a part of the incident in Birdsboro where the guy was lighting their house on fire. And he assisted the Birdsboro police, and it sounded like he did a fantastic job.
The house on fire in Birdsboro?
Yeah, it was a domestic situation, and I think the guy was trying to set the house on fire. He got a little belligerent with the cops.
I didn't hear that, but
yeah,
there was a
look it
break-in.
up. I think it's on WFMZ.
Is this just recently?
Yeah, it just happened within the last month.
I just read about one in Robinson Township that burned where people died.
Yeah, on Route 10.
But a Birdsboro cop came in also, and well, she urinated her pants. She fell and got hurt, couldn't get up. And when I got to her, she messed her pants. Birdsboro cop, I'm trying to hold her up to get her out from where she was.
You probably saved her life throwing back there, you know?
Yeah, because she would have been dead.
Yeah.
They say her muscles broke down, and her muscles broke down, and she went into kidney failure. She was on dialysis for 5 days up there. Now she's back in the hospital with pneumonia.
Oh, jeez.
But the Birdsboro cop went, he said, I'm not touching her, she pooped herself. I said, what kind of cop are you? So black.
Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do. You know, he wouldn't help. She's holding on to me, practically I'm falling over, I just had my hip replaced. I'm trying to hold her up, Ken was helping me, and the paramedics couldn't get in, we had to get her out. Probably 50 yards until they could possibly get in a little bit with the stretcher, and then they all carried her out in a stretcher. Ambulance was at the property for about half an hour, to cut her clothes off and clean her up, but she's lucky to be alive.
I mean, thanks to you being going back there.
Thanks for my cousin, he didn't up,
Yeah.
getting ready to go to work, because if he wasn't up at that hour, she would not have been found, she would have been dead back there. And probably
I'm
the
sure
hunters,
she's grateful.
probably the hunters next year would have found her, maybe, found the bones. Because we got loads of coyotes back in there. I don't know why I'm sticking around here.
Yeah, there's a meeting, it's the, I think, third Tuesday of every month, so if you
I don't,
wanted to voice your concern.
I don't agree with any of this. You know, you can be retarded and get one of these jobs up here, because you're only voted in by the people. So you don't have to have any brains. Okay? I learned about that when I bought a property in Birdsboro and went over there and seen them 7 people. They ran the town. I wound up suing them, spent $28,000 suing one Birdsboro councilwoman. But it's nothing but, I got called quite a few years ago by Dennis Castle and by, who's the one that retired? He was a constable also. He retired on the police force. They called me to come out and speak to him because of this group, I don't know if it was this whole group here, they wanted to get rid of the police department. And they wanted the state police to take over. Okay, and there were so many people coming, they called me to come. So many people coming, they had it out to,
Was that in 2014 at the elementary school?
yeah, at the elementary school.
Yeah.
Are you there?
No, I read a news article about it.
They wanted to,
Yeah, it was definitely not this group, because this group supports the police
Yeah,
big time.
the good thing is I think that issue is behind the township. No one running right now for the 2 seats that are going to be open are saying they wanna, disband the police and let the state police take over there.
they got a good,
All the candidates are, particularly Ms. Fix over here and Harold Steve are very, supportive of the police force.
they got a good group of cops down here. I know every one of them.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
In small towns like us, we don't always get the best of the best, but I think we do, at least
I'm
in this
more,
area.
I'm more with the Pottstown Police Department. I own a property down there too in Montgomery County, and I was friends with a lot of them. I just went to the chief of police's funeral down there. And, went to that funeral on Saturday with the cops down there shot that kid.
Yeah.
That was sad, a sad situation. I bet you there was 1,500 people at the funeral.
Wow.
Yeah. I felt bad for the family.
Yeah.
Kid had a drug problem. But they went in there, it was one of the rich sections of Pottstown down there, Roseville section, and they shot the whole back of the house up.
That's crazy.
And they went in and they killed the kid. What is this executive session? Stuff they talk about that they don't want you to hear?
It's like personnel matters that they can't discuss and like
Why not?
employment.
The open meetings law, it's called the Sunshine Act, requires that any official action be taken here, but they're allowed to have deliberations on certain protected areas in an executive session that it would be not advantageous to the governance of the township to be discussed openly before a decision's made, like litigation, personnel, labor contracts, that kind of stuff.
Are you somebody of importance? Are you just a resident?
Definitely not. Just a resident.
Just a resident?
He's
Yeah.
a well-educated resident.
Rummy's a good guy. What are they waiting for? How long has he been acting as chief? Months. What are they waiting for? What are they dragging their feet for? For him to get fed up and leave and not to bring somebody else in?
Notice, going back in session.
I didn't expect it. I made a comment. Okay.
Alright, we'll come back into session at 8:09. We'll discuss some legal and personnel issues, and then I'd like to make a motion to adjourn at.
Also move.
I just came in. Can I make a comment?
Sure.
Okay.
Name and address, please.
Yeah, Richard Steele. I live at West First Street. I was wondering what the protocol was for, I know Dennis Castle was one of the best chiefs that we have here. And I know that Officer Rimby is acting as chief, am I correct? What are we waiting for? What is are we waiting for him to get disgusted and leave the township, or when are we gonna make him chief? What are we waiting for?
I think there's discussions about contract, am I
Yeah,
wrong?
we're currently in contract,
Yeah.
you know.
Everybody's
building
gotta work on it,
discussions, so
everybody's gotta come to terms.
it's in progress, we have our solicitor working on contracts and we need to get everything put together, so.
Okay, I was wondering what the holdup was.
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay.
Paperwork.
And it doesn't matter how much money he makes, because he doesn't make enough. And none of these officers make enough. You see what happened in Pottstown. We just had a police officer shot down there. And it wasn't worth the little bit of money that he makes. Okay? I went to that funeral on Saturday. And there was probably 1,500 people there. Okay? And I also want to, I'll make this real quick. I want to talk about Officer Ketterer, Jacob Ketterer. We had a girl that got last Sunday, or on the 16th, decided to park her car back there where I live, and she went into the woods there, filming a fox. And anyway, she got into the woods there, and she got in there pretty deep, and fell and got hurt, and didn't find her way out. So on Tuesday morning, one of my relatives got up and at 2:45 in the morning said he thought he heard some yelling out in the woods there. I said, no, it's impossible, it's 300 acres there. And it turned out to be, yeah, I went in my pajamas and I didn't take my phone or nothing with me, and I made my way in about 150 yards, and I got to her, and she was in bad shape. She fell and was in bad shape. And when she got to but Officer Ketterer got called out there. And it was Officer Ketterer, and I don't know who the officer was from Birdsboro. I don't have a lot of respect for him, okay, because he did not do anything like Officer Ketterer did. Officer Ketterer, you can't get into those woods, okay, there's thorn bushes, bad. And Officer Ketterer, I got to the area where she was, and it was a little open. Officer Ketterer was crawling on his hands and knees to get into where we were. And I have a lot of respect for that
Now,
guy.
did you know all that, this happened? So this would just be part of the good things he does, though?
Officer Ketterer has done some fabulous things. I can think of 3 on top of my last 3 weeks that he probably should be up for awards for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I came here for, because I think he should get something for
Well,
that.
they're in the process of.
They're working on things, Rick, everything doesn't happen real quick.
I know it doesn't, but from what I've seen him do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now the girl, she urinated herself. She's been there since Sunday. She got hurt, and her muscles all broke down, and she went into kidney failure. She had to get kidney dialysis, and now as we speak, she's in the hospital with pneumonia. Okay, all stemming from all this. This is over a month ago. But I tried to help her get out, and so did Officer Ketterer. Okay, I couldn't hold her up very well because I just had the hip replaced. But the Birdsboro police officer says, I'm not touching her. She soiled herself. I said, what kind of cop are you? You know?
Well, thank you for the
Thanks,
kind
Rick.
words for Officer Kevin.
Okay, so I'm done, but that's what I wanted to, I don't know why, what we're waiting for here. Waiting for him to get disgusted and leave. We've already lost a lot of good officers down here. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I see you're in a hurry. All right, thank you.
Thanks,
I'm done.
Rick.
Thank you. Thank you, Joy.
Have a good one, dear.
All right, thank you.
All right, you want me to make a motion to adjourn at 8:14?
Yes, please.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Well, we do have some text to sign, and also, I believe, our solicitor has some agreements that need to be signed as well.
Yes, I have the conditional use decision.
Oh, okay.
Signed.
I'll just give it to you.
All right, well, I'll drop it off then tomorrow.
And Buckhollow Road, yeah.
All right, and then I'm taking those with me.
Yes, please.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they came down a couple of months.
Yes, just wrong. Yep, she did, she sweated out. She's learning, she's good. This was from, these two are from the last.
I didn't, I'll show you acknowledgement for that. I didn't print out any further because at the end of the day, our office was powerless as I was printing out items from meetings. This was the last one.
You taking 2 sets and we taking 2 sets?
Yeah. Yes, we just put all these together. Legal ones.
The conditional use here and sign, sign 3.
Come on back, my dear, please. Thank you very much. Christopher's much quicker at that. He has the chicken scratch, he has the chicken scratch position.
I appreciate that. It's been a long time coming, unfortunately.
I'll let you fill yours. We have, they have the other day out.
So they might have 2, 3, 4, because there's 5, 6.
If she's new, so she may have just. Yeah, I don't know where.
Okay, all right.
Sure.
Well, at least with Chris, I know I can fit him on the same line if I have
Yeah,
to. No, I need those.
I'm trying to keep them in order.
And this also needs to be signed up by the secretary.
Oh, Scott,
So,
yeah, it's not.
All right, so I'll leave this here then for
Okay,
Scott to sign.
yep, I'll take those with me.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
I'll take this one with me and then.
No.
You did that one. That needs to go down to Jeff. Wait, I'll give you the other one.
Yeah, there's,
Put my finger.
Yes, they go off file, I'm sorry. You did it right there.
And you did all these, they're Chris's now.
yeah, one
So
from
that's
last,
18,
this
so.
is this month's, and then two from last
So there's
month.
a couple of that are missing, this is not ball.
I heard about that.
Yeah, I'll check it, when I, before I send these,
The
I'll
last
check
time
them
I
all.
was there, they had,
I think she's still running through, and then these are from this was last one.
Ford Rush, yeah.
That's why.
I look to see if I can spot on the faces.
Yeah, and faces in the crowd.
Yes, yes.
I'll just sign it backwards, the numbers are right there.
It just may not be in order. How many jobs you doing now, Rich?
A few,
Yeah, trust me, beyond a few.
we're getting there.
Oh, I know. But you,
One day at a
you're
time,
paying the
one day at a
price,
time.
so is everybody else there.
One day at a time. That's all we can do.
Oh, I know. But it was nice to get full capacity and now we're back in the hole again.
Oh,
I'll check. We can't and she may have this, but she hasn't done this before, so I'm not gonna, this was her first shot through.
Maybe it's in.
They might just be out of order the way it looks.
All right, and then I have the one here. You gentlemen sign that, that is the one for 1150. I'll just need to get Scott to sign that when he's available. As the secretary, won't be able to sign it, because he wasn't present, but he can sign the secretary.
You gonna be in Star? Yes, yeah, I'm doing the seminar on blight. Blight remediation, yeah. We have a big panel down here.
Oh, okay, good, never mind, all right, my apologies.
Revisited.
I just need Scott to grab.
That was a big case, which is like renewal. Did I hear that that's going back before the Supreme Court?
Which case of blight? Are you talking about eminent domain? You're talking about Kilo and eminent domain?
And blight, isn't that being revisited?
That might be, that's what I did hear about Kilo, yes,
Right.
and that could be revisited.
Because that was the whole case, that was using eminent domain to cure
Museum
blight.
to cure, well, it's more than cure blight, though, that was to enhance the tax base. That was a very clear abuse, and that it never should have been decided that way. I'll just never forget when that came down. Chris Hartman and I were going to, doing the Land Use Institute, because I've done that every year, he and I were presenting together on eminent domain. And we just did not know what to expect, because everyone of every ideology was furious, just for different reasons, so we didn't know.
That's when you know it's a bad decision.
That's when everybody's angry, you know you've either done something very great or making very, very money.
Well, yeah, the government just taking land for that.
That was outrageous, yeah, for luxury condominiums and luxury commercial, and, high-end commercial retail, that was uniquely outrageous, that was uniquely abusive. I think there was a move to eminent domain Justice Souter's house.
Yeah.
I remember, that's what I remember about that.
Right. So it should be fun.
I'm looking forward to that one, that's gonna be good. Yeah, fine. Municipal section this year has a track.
Okay.
Chechnay's gonna be talking about, right to know law, and we're gonna have that, and then we're also gonna have, there's also gonna be a zoning discussion, so I'm not gonna be involved in those two, just the blight panel.
That'd be interesting.
But it's gonna be good, yeah.
I'll see you there.
Okay, I'll see you at Bench
That's good.
You're not gonna see me there.
You will not be at Bench Bar? You don't like Bench Bar? Yeah.
He gets all his credits early.
Yeah, I work well ahead.
Here's how I get my credits. My firm never has to pay cash, or rarely has to pay cash for my CLE. I teach the stuff. So I teach it for PDI and for Ulrich CDL. They're getting double credits. So they pay in billable hours, but they don't pay in cash.
I do the 2 family law case updates each year with Greg Henry, so.
Oh, that's smart.
There's 4 credits already.
How's
built
Greg
in.
doing? I haven't seen him in ages.
He's good.
Good.
Same as ever.
I always call him for complex international cases, because he's one of the few people who really knows the Hague Convention and is able to do international service process. And I don't do sophisticated family law anyway. I mean, I was asked today to do a pre-note. So I don't really do the real high-end stuff. But if ever I get a question about it, that's the one to call.
Right. Yeah, he's a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys do family law. I just don't know how you do it. I did it for a while, in the late 90s.
5, 6,
And
7,
I thought it was awful.
8.
It was, I just hated every minute of it.
I always looked at it that people are in the worst times of their lives, and if you get, 2 good, competent, honest lawyers on it, and make it,
All right, no worries.
as good as it can be
You're
in
right.
those circumstances.
You're absolutely right, yeah, I agree. I agree, that's the better side, that's the better side of it.
Rose-colored glasses.
That's right, yeah, no, it is good, it's good when reasonable people do that kind
Well,
of
then the
work.
kids don't suffer either when you work, most things out.
I'll
Yeah.
check that.
They're not put in the middle, which is
That's
always the goal.
always, right, that's always the best. Look, I've always believed that the best cases are the ones where the parents already worked out their custody and they're just coming to write up the custody. You can fight over money, I understand that, and there's good reasons sometimes too. But work out the custody, just keep the court out of, keep the court and the evaluators out of the custody.
If at all possible.
That's right, they weren't that bad, you made 3 kids with them. All right, they couldn't be that awful.
Yeah, yeah, I assume they didn't become a monster after the third kid.
Yeah. Now, if they're gonna become a monster, there are too many stories about somebody taking a couple bites of wedding cake and changing them.
So we
okay?
monitor our
I don't think it
process
necessarily happens after kids.
Okay. Alright, good.
Well, anyway, I'm gonna head out, I will
Sounds
see you
good.
later.
Have a nice evening.
Okay,
Alright,
I'll
see you, Jim.
See ya.
Stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, under the Chanel mark, all is good.